My name is David Lashinsky. I'm the owner and operator of Eureka Puzzles on Beacon Street. Eureka Puzzles, at its heart, is a puzzle and game store. We have things that make people think and have fun. But in addition to that, we have a whole division that focuses on bringing our fun out to you, to people in the community. It's called the On the Spot division, where we will take our selection, appropriate set of games and puzzles to events, and we're the entertainment. We also will take Eureka on the road and we'll set up a booth at different conventions, both in the area and out of town. We work with a lot of young people at Eureka, both as customers as well, obviously, as employees. And I find that it is very exhilarating to try to understand the world through their eyes, to see what they see, to see how they approach problems. I'm finding I'm always learning. I'm always getting to see new perspectives that I hadn't seen before. And that is a rewarding experience. I think Ethel Weiss would be tickled pink to know that I'm getting an award based on, I guess, her legacy in many ways. She had a marvelous neighborhood toy store that, I used to go, I would visit her right in the beginning to talk with her and see, trying to understand, like what was out there. And these kids would come in and they would be passionate and they would, look for the latest thing or whatever it is that she had. But she was just a very warm-hearted, encouraging person. It's very exciting that this is an award that is based on, I guess, her legacy here in Brookline. Don't be afraid of failure. In other words, being a success at anything takes effort, takes trial and error, takes doing things you've never done before, and it's okay if they don't work. It's okay. You go ahead and then make a different decision. You go in a different direction. It's just a matter of keeping at it. You don't get, grades only for success, and it takes real effort to do it. It doesn't come naturally.
I am Abigail Ketema, and I am a sophomore at BHS. I like doing theater, playing drums for church, and helping other people. With the Drama Society at BHS, I've been doing acting and costume design since freshman year. I'm in my 5th show right now for Student Directive Festival. I get to work with my friends because a lot of my friends are also in Drama Society, but I get to collaborate with people, hear their ideas, and put that into the work that I do. Python is basically a computer language that you basically tell the computer what to do. So if I want to tell the computer, give me the solution to this mathematical problem, I would type that in, and it would hopefully, if I did it correctly, it would produce the result. Scratch is basically the kids version. I taught kids Scratch, and I basically teach them how to code, how to create animations, because that's a really big thing in the Scratch community, how to make games. The kids really do love when I teach Scratch, because I try to force them into using their brains to think of creative ways of using it. So I'll give them a prompt to make a game, and they get to do basically the rest. They have to do their own research on how to program it, do the work themselves, and then they get to show it off to their friends in the class. I got into this internship called Flair, which is this training boot camp sort of, where they teach you the skills that you would need in an office environment, how to deal with specific aspects like diversity, how to survive in a working environment basically. And then they send us off to a company of our choice. For me, I'm hoping to work with PTC, which is an engineering firm that does a lot of graphic design, which I'm also interested in because I like art.
My name is Margot Mattis, and I am a senior at Brookline. For the Brookline High basketball team, I joined as a junior. We had one senior and then one sophomore. Coming after apparently COVID, they didn't have a great year. I was new, and then the senior was also new. So a lot of that year was incorporating us into the team and seeing what impact we could make. So I think we ended up going like 14-6 or 14-7. It was a pretty good year. At Brookline, I also am the co-president of the Best Buddies Club. We would have practice right after school, and I always had a free block right before school ended. So I'd always go in 20 or 30 minutes early and shoot. When I would go, there was always one student, his name was Bailey, he would be there, and then one of the teacher's sons. And they were always just kind of hanging out for the last 10, 20 minutes. So it would just be us three. So I was like, oh, I'll rebound for you guys, I'll hang out. I came to be friends with them. I was like, oh, he's in this classroom, he's there all day. I didn't at the time know there were even Rise classrooms or where they were. Gianna, who's also on the basketball team, she loves Bailey as well. We were like, oh, we could just stop by their cooking class. It'll be a lot of fun. From that point, I got to meet all of the students because I was, coming regularly once I had free time. So Rise is the classrooms for students who have intellectual disabilities. Part of Best Buddies is you can go in and just be a friend to those kids. And it was just such a great experience because I loved all of the students. They're all my friends, and I also got to know all of the paraprofessionals, the teachers, and I actually didn't even know that the Best Buddies was a club. Once I realized it was an actual club, that's when this year I became co-president of it. I lived in Mason, Ohio, which is a suburb of Cincinnati, basically my entire life. And then I moved here a week before the start of junior year. And I think when you're new, it can be hard to find friend groups, find small pockets of people because everybody's been together for all these years and you're jumping into it. But I think, being on the basketball team, it gave me this basketball community that I can go to and reach out if I ever need help. And working in the Rise classrooms kind of gave me just one more community of people that I can, go to and have those friendships and have those connections with different people. So I will be playing basketball at Princeton next year, which obviously I'm very excited for. I have a sister who's about to graduate from there this year. So kind of seeing her experience at that college and then knowing that I'll be there next year is very exciting.
Hi, I'm Molly Lewison, and I'm so honored to be nominated for the second year in a row and so appreciative of anyone who played any role in my nomination. Senior year has been very busy. At the end of my junior year, my friend and I launched a web-based program called the Consent Initiative, in which we spread awareness on the importance of consent education, integrating it thoroughly into both primary and secondary school curriculums. I also am still the president, along with Margot Matsis of Best Buddies, and that is such a joy of my life, and it continues to be, just as it was last year. I'm also on the steering committee for the now named The Cypress, the Brookline High School newspaper, as we changed the name after almost 130 years, and I'm working in partnership with BIG as we create a documentary really shedding light on the history of the newspaper, both the good and the bad, honoring the hard work of previous staff members, but also recognizing our wrongdoings and our enthusiasm as we work towards trying to do better in the future. And as I move on next year, I hope I can study journalism at whatever university I am at. I am not committed anywhere thus far. I'm very excited.
Hi, my name is Patrice Desir, and I'm a junior at BHS. Some of my favorite things to do are cooking and drawing, and I like to cook for my family and my friends because they're always happy with the creations that I make. This year, I've gotten myself pretty busy. I just started softball. I'm on the JV team. I also am a board member on the Black Student Union, which is a club at BHS. Being in the Black Student Union creates an opportunity for me to converse and really get to know some of my peers that I wouldn't have known otherwise. I am in a program called Steps to Success. It's a program for low-income students in Brookline specifically who just need a leg up and who need extra help to do the activities that most Brookline kids do. It's kind of given me a lens outside of just the Brookline bubble, as some would call it. I was able to go on a ski trip that was really fun, an overnight ski trip with my friends. which I would never have been able to do. Even convincing my mom to let me go to that was quite a turbulence, but it was really fun. And yeah, I've made really strong connections with advisors and students in STEP Success, so I'm happy to be a part of it. I have a few family members who suffer with mental illnesses, and that was a big thing that came up this year, and I kind of took a leader role in that, getting them the care they needed and really helping out other family members with dealing with that. And it took a pretty large toll on me and my schoolwork, but I'm glad I got to do that, and I'm glad I got to be that person for the family member and for my other family members as well. I would say my family's definitely a caring and loving, helpful family. Whenever someone's in need, someone's always there to step up and help them, no matter what it is. Even if you don't have the resources right away, you kind of find a way around it to help them in a different way. I think I get that from my mother. For my future, especially right after high school, I want to be a psychologist, and I feel like that has somewhat to do with the mental illnesses that some of my family members face, as well as my own intrigue and like how the brain works. I hope to get a decent job where I can help others, maybe as a social worker.
My name's Charlotte Stokes. I'm a senior at Brookline High School. I do debate, mock trial. I am one of the co-presidents of the Brookline Quiz Bowl team. I have done road crew for all 4 years of high school, but I recently just started playing rugby. Something I do all the time is debate. I am the captain, the student coach, president of the Brookline debate team. We're the only, as far as I know, the only completely student-led debate team in the state. Most debate teams have a paid adult coach as a permanent position with the school. We don't have that. We've got a wonderful faculty advisor, but the majority of the club is led by the students. So when I joined the team in my freshman year, there were about 5 of us, led by one senior, and the rest of us were freshmen. And she taught us everything we know. And then COVID happened and she graduated. So it was up to me to take over the entire team. I managed to grow the team a huge amount, and we got maybe 25 members in my sophomore year, which was awesome, but did mean that I really needed to step up my game and figure out, how do I coach these kids? How do I teach them this very highly technical activity? So I managed to find us a faculty advisor, and then over the last 3 years, we have continued expanding the team. We've continued going to tournaments, and we started getting really good. We're trying to fundraise for nationals right now, which is really quite hard considering we're sending a record-breaking number of entries this year, so we need to figure out how to pay for those plane tickets, how to pay for those hotel costs. We've set up a GoFundMe, which we're working on spreading the word about. We're gonna have, bake sales, and we're trying to talk to local businesses to see if they'll support us. All of these strategies I've learned by asking other coaches and working with other teams. It's a really nice community, not only the Brookline debate team itself, but the Massachusetts Speech and Debate League. The main challenge that's come up in almost all of my clubs is the challenge about leadership. How can I be a good leader? How can I create an environment where all the younger people in the club, or all the people who would usually get excluded from the club, how can I create an environment that includes everybody and makes it fun for everybody? Because I know that I had really wonderful seniors and upperclassmen when I was younger who were able to guide me and create the path that I'm currently on. And so now it's just about being that person for the younger kids in the clubs. The person who inspires me constantly, always, is my younger sibling. The inspiration that they provide for me, number one, is how to be a beacon of light everywhere that they go. I'm just obsessed with how they manage to make friends immediately and make everybody smile all the time. Next year, I'm planning on going to college. I want to major in potentially international relations, and I'm really interested in international politics, specifically with China.
Hello, my name is Alice McGarvey-Thompson, and I am just so honored to be receiving the Brookline Youth Award for the 2nd year. Last year, I was involved in a clemency campaign for a man named William Allen. Since Williams released last year, we've been working on the clemency campaigns for several other men. One of them is Ramadan Shabazz, and he got his commutation a few months ago, which was incredible, and came home last week. And now we're working on more like systemic change around this, and really thinking about how do we reimagine the process of clemency at the statewide level. So we're meeting with some like key stakeholders and key people, and trying to figure out like how can we get, I don't know, 50 or 100 people get their sentences commuted. So that's really been like the new focus of, wow, this is such an incredible tool that we've had such beautiful just joyous success with, and so now we're thinking, okay, how do we make this bigger? How can this become a bigger thing? And we've been working with Families for Justice Healing, or we're trying to forge a partnership with them on that. So that's one side of things. Then another side is the affordable housing overlay district I was working on, and that got passed in November, and I'm part of a group that we're going to talk about later. That I was just one part of that. And then I've also been recently appointed to the school committee, so I've been really trying to center like racial justice in my work with that. Next year I'm going to college, and I think I'm probably going to major in public policy, and I just really want to to live and breathe this work for the next 4 years, so I'm excited for that.
My name is Ben Hoff, and I was the 2013 Youth of the Year. I'm honored to be here virtually with the members of the BHS Housing Justice Team. Housing Justice Team, tell us a little bit about your mission and how you got started in this work.
A little over a year ago, a group of students in the Climate Justice Club really wanted to do some housing justice work. We saw how much the housing crisis in Brookline was impacting us and our peers. And we were really learning about, housing justice being such a big part of racial justice, and also learning about the climate side of, how increasing affordable housing in cities is just really good climate and sustainability policy. So we heard about Cambridge's affordable housing overlay policy, and we were thinking about, could we do that in Brookline?
And what is an affordable housing overlay?
So an affordable housing overlay is basically legislation that allows housing developers to bypass zoning laws in order to build income-targeted affordable housing, which helps to increase the quantity and density of affordable housing.
And once you guys had this mission and this goal of an AHO, what steps did you take to make this happen and get the word out there?
We knew we wanted to take legislative steps after spending a lot of time, really learning more. We wrote a warrant article, which is it's like a bill for Brookline's town government, and it is passed by town meeting. So once you pass it, it binds the town into doing something. We wrote a resolution in order to create a study committee. We spent a lot of time presenting to different committees in town meeting and really trying to advocate for it. We were able to get those votes and make those revisions that were needed. But a big part of that was also like raising awareness within our community, within our school, on and online.
So we use our social media, specifically Instagram, and our website to get people to hear about it and just inform a little bit about what we were doing. And yeah, we got like people to support us through that.
We also had email campaigns that encouraged our peers to send emails to town legislators or members of the committee to encourage this like support for this warrant article, and like we started up a conversation from that.
Now, what exactly was achieved in the passing of this warrant article, and what can people do now to get involved and help you guys with this incredibly important work?
The Housing Advisory Board is now going to undertake a study of the potential of an affordable housing overlay district and what that would look like for Brookline. We don't have an affordable housing overlay district yet.
Moving forward, it's really important that people show support for the study, since affordable housing specifically has definitely not always been prioritized, and something like this can definitely be put on the back burner for legislators. So something that we would love for everyone to do is scan the QR code that we have right here. And through it, you can access our website. And if you follow the green button at the top, you can access an email template that will allow you to advocate for a deadline to the study.
And our website also has lots more information on our resources, what we've been doing as a club, and what you can do to support our mission towards climate justice and economic justice.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much for your work, and congratulations on the Youth Award.
My name is Lloyd Gelano. I'm the Director of the Office of Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Relations for the town of Brookline. I started off as actually practicing clinical psychologist. I was always on the fix-it stage and not necessarily on the preventative stage, and I wanted to get off that particular way of doing business. So I was looking to do something more proactive, more preventative. My wife actually saw this ad in the paper for a human service coordinator for the town of Brookline. And that position was looking at the gaps in services and helping the community find ways to put some kind of intervention in place to help folks who are in particular vulnerable populations. To make it easier for folks, I tend to separate the two. One is sort of, I call the regulatory or the big brother type of things that we need to do. For example, we make sure that people who have ADA issues in town, they have a voice and we help them get their needs met. And that's up and including filing complaints if necessary. If there's any kind of discriminatory behavior, whether within a town structure or outside a town structure, we're obligated to help people navigate that and get some kind of resolution to those issues. And then you have more of the community side, where we engage in programming. One of the things we do every year is the Pride Crosswalk, where us and DPW go out and we paint, and community members go and paint sidewalks to represent Pride Month. We have the annual MLK committee event that we put on at Coolidge Corner. We have Hidden Brookline, which actually chronicles and gives information about issues of slavery and discriminatory practices here in Brookline, and we have a tour that's connected to that. It's really important that you show up to these things, but two things with that. Whatever we talk about, go and do something with that information. And usually people that come to our events are typically people who are preaching to the choir. Make it your mission to go out and bring someone who's either unaware or not like-minded and bring them to the table. It may not change their mind going out, but at least they know a perspective that they didn't know before. One thing I would like to leave our young folks with this evening is that don't let anyone tell you no. If you feel like it's something that you want to go for it, you go ahead and do it. If it's in your heart, you should go and do it. You can always change your mind later.
I'm Taj Horwitz, and I'm a senior at Brookline High School. I do a lot at Brookline High School. I was the captain of the boys varsity soccer team as well as the boys varsity basketball team. But I also lead academic sort of pursuits. I'm the president of the philosophy club, and I'm the captain of the mock trial team as well. And then finally, I'm the leader of the BHS Superfans, which is a little less well known, but basically I'm just in charge of the student section at any game that I'm not playing in. Last year with the soccer team, we won the state championship, and so this year, going into it, we had a lot of high expectations. There were a lot of different challenges throughout the soccer season, but we definitely did not have the record that we wanted to. And it was tough. We were kind of falling apart as a team. I still felt like I owed it to my teammates, and I owed it to the program, and I owed it to myself to give everything that I had. Luckily, it was noticed by Coach Kyle, and I was actually named a captain. And even though we did not have a great record, we ended up making it into playoffs. Although we didn't make it very far, I think that was one of the best accomplishments that I've had throughout my high school career. The thing that I realized that helped me set the tone for everybody else is even when things are really hard, things aren't going your way, if you remain positive, if you look at the silver lining in every, mishap or misfortune, people also start thinking like that. And if you lead by example with your mindset and your attitude, everything else kind of starts falling into place. I think the really cool thing is that every single activity that I've done at the high school has helped create who I am today, and helped build on each aspect of how I lead, how I interact with people. I think the common thread throughout all of them is relationships with people, listening to people. I probably will be going to college. I just don't know where yet. My dad went to UNC, my mom went to Duke, so a bit of a family rivalry, but we'll see. I got into UNC, so right now that's up there.
Hi everybody, my name is Madison Ruth Allen. I'm a senior at Brookline High School, and it is my utmost privilege and honor to be receiving the Brookline Youth Award for the second time in a row. One of my main focuses this past year has been the revival of our school's Black Student Union, which we kind of use the acronym BSU when we talk about it. I think for me, BSU has been such a blessing, just being able to kind of put an emphasis that the Black experience isn't a monolithic one, and that there's so much nuance and diversity in the Black experience, and having a space where that's really able to kind of be seen through all the different students that we have in our family. I think for me, I've really tried to put an emphasis on community this year, and the power in family, and just being able to be there for one another through the ups and downs. And I think the other thing we really worked hard to do is to educate on the Black experience in a way where a trauma narrative isn't the default, but really to relish in celebration of everything that our Black ancestors have done for us. And I think that's really the beauty in just BSU for me. It's always so good seeing the underclassmen, saying hi to them. And I just hope that everyone in BSU kind of knows that this is like a home base for them at school. So if you have a hard time one day and you just need a space to come to, you know that you can kind of reach out to someone in BSU and you know that they'll be there for you. And in the fall, I'll be attending Spelman College in Atlanta, Georgia as a political science major and an English minor on the pre-law track. And I think for me, I don't really want to put a timestamp on what I've done so far at Brookline High School. And while kind of graduating is really sad for me, it's also a time for me to reminisce about the work I've done and let that kind of infer and, more like for better words, inspire the work that I'm going to do at college. So I think that's probably one of the things I'm most excited for, just to continue kind of going through life with a social justice lens. And just taking the steps to really be the change that I think the world needs.
My name is Namaira, and I'm a senior at Brookline. I would say my favorite thing in the entire world is watching movies. I am a huge Bollywood fan, so I think that makes up 50% of my personality, honestly, just watching movies and talking about them. I love programming. I love computer science, so I think a lot of my time outside of school goes into just coding. I just love the creative freedom that comes with it, that I can choose everything. It's like making my own little world I love making video games, websites. I work to make video games for people as a freelance developer. I teach a lot of people how to code, especially people who cannot afford teachers. So I think over my last 4 years of high school, I've taught more than 200 people how to code. Here, I've tutored middle schoolers for free. Most of my activity happens in India, though. I run virtual classes almost every night. And I teach high schoolers and college students in India how to code. I've been moving around every year of my life. I have actively been in 12 different schools in my life. And even in high school, I've been to 3 different high schools for the past 3 years of my life. I think the biggest move, though, was 8th grade when I moved to the US from India. I lived in Delhi for the past 6 years. Before that, I lived in a really rural place called Odisha and a city there. So I've been moving around a lot, and I feel like that's been really hard for me, only because I'm a really friendly person. I love making friends, but every year I have to leave everyone behind and start a new life. Junior year of my high school, my mom was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, and my dad is in India, so it was just me, my younger brother, and my mom. So I had to take care of her for some part, but luckily everything's going much better now. So I had junior year, senior year going on, which I would say were the hardest years of my life academically as well, and also that my mom, she was not well a lot of the time because cancer treatment is pretty straining, not just a disease but chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and surgeries. My dad has been visiting us for a while, so it's not like I've been alone through it. I have had my family with me, but even then, being the oldest daughter and taking care of school as well as looking at my younger brother and being with my mom, it has been hard. A lot of college decisions are coming out tomorrow for me, actually. I have 8 coming out tomorrow, so it's a big day. I think my most likely path is to be a computer engineer or an electrical engineer. I do have a dream of becoming a movie maker just because I love Bollywood so much. I feel like I really want to be a scriptwriter someday, and I'd even be a director at some point in life. But I think that's a side thing. My first primary goals definitely are to be an engineer.
My name's Tony Harris, and I'm a 12th grader at Brookline High School. Some of my favorite things to do is hanging out with my friends or just spending quality time with my family. Some of the activities I've taken outside of Brookline is mainly my internship, which is Flair Education. Flair Education is a program that was started by Ajit, basically one of my mentors, and I would like to say is one of my friends. It's where we get to learn more about how to work in a work environment, write emails. A couple of challenges I faced in my life: losing my grandfather at the beginning of the school year. 9th grade, I was homeless. Another challenge I faced was also fighting against the Boston Public School District. Back in middle school, they had a couple different cases that I had to take to court and win and get where I am today. Some days I didn't know if I was going to win the cases or not. I was scared, I was anxious. Being homeless, I just traveled back and forth to different towns over Massachusetts in different hotels with my family. It was difficult. We had to squeeze in one little car, but the reason why we made it out of it because we were family and we worked together to make sure everybody was good. For my future, over the next couple of years, I want to go to one of the colleges that I applied for and also become a mentor to one of the kids in my internship and continue to work alongside Ajit and Flair Education for a good amount of time and probably be a part of their board one day. I like to thank my grandmother because she always made sure I was on the right path before she died. I also like to thank my uncle and my mother because they were always there for me no matter what challenges I'm going through, even back when we was homeless. And John Ortiz and the ACE staff, because they really made sure that I was on the right road to finishing these last 2 years of high school. Some days it might be really hard to get out of bed. You might not want to go to school or go to work the next day or whatever you have to do. But there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, no matter what you're facing. So just don't give up.
My name is Tina Yutian Lee, and I'm a junior at Brookline High School. I do cross country, and I just also run for fun. And aside from running, I really like baking and also just talking to friends. It was during the pandemic, and I started a bake sale. It really just started from me trying to bake different things and giving it out to neighbors. But it became I started baking so much that my neighbors are like, we're willing to pay you. And my first thought is, I don't want to have the money. I know people who would need this money more. So I was like, let me just start a bake sale to raise money for the food pantry. And after I donated the money, I was like, I can't give you more money because I'm a student, but I'm willing to volunteer there. So starting from freshman year, I started volunteering at a program under the food pantry called Brookline Thrive. I do a lot of activism both in and outside of school. I'm known as the student spokesperson or the morning announcement speaker every single morning. I'm the co-president of Asian Pacific American Club, which is the largest club in our school. We have over 200 members. We collaborated with BaFin on an API book project where we seek to diversify books in the library by bringing more API books. And we currently have raised over $10,000. And we have donated over 400 books to the Brookline High School Library. I immigrated here from China to the United States 5 years ago, and I was in 6th grade back then. It was really a sudden decision. We received a phone call from the immigration officer who said, your immigration paper got approved. You're giving a 6 months window to pack up your entire life in China to move to the United States. So that's what we did. We always have the American dream that America is like, everyone's like free, everyone's equal. But once I arrived here, it's so far from the truth. I faced a lot of discrimination as an immigrant who doesn't speak English. I just overall saw that the system is not exactly working for immigrants like me. And that's when I really realized that I could do something to change it. I think the reason I'm getting this award, aside from my hard work, it's overall just a community we have in Brookline and so many people who have supported me on the way. Some of my best middle school teachers really see me and they told me that my opinions and my passions are valid and they supported me in that journey of truly coming out of my shell and then supporting me in the activism I do. I have a lot of hope for my future. A lot of time people want to ask what I want to do. But in reality, I do not know what I want to do, but I know that I want to make the world a better place for everyone in it.
My name is Samaria Nunes, and I am a junior in Brookline High School. I really like hanging out with friends, doing homeworks together. I also like sports, like cheerleading. In school, I do a cappella, which is like a singing group. And then out of school, I work on weekends in a restaurant as a server. And sometimes I take care of my cousins and help, with home stuff. I am from Honduras. I was born in Florida, Bradenton, Florida. And then when I was like 6 months, my parents took me back to Honduras. So I grew up in Honduras and I came back here in 2021. It's been difficult because being away from my parents, my family, my siblings, but it's been also good because I came here for medical support and treatment. So I have scleroderma, which is a skin problem. It's been like 5 years ago when it started, and we tried to work on getting medicine, and they gave us some medicine, but we never got any answer to it. So when I came here, I started a new medication, and it really helped me. Coming from Honduras was a really big change, having to get a new language, new people, new community. But at the same time, it was really nice being able to meet new people from all around the world. I know friends from Africa, from Europe, and other Latinos as well as me. I got the opportunity to try new things. For example, when I was little, I always dreamed with being a cheerleader. And then I came here, and finally, my dream came true. In the Latino Club, it's a club from BHS. We were able to raise some money to help families, immigrant families, who came from other countries and wanted to learn some English to find a job. So we were able to raise money to buy some new computers for them. My mom and dad, they always inspired me of like being a strong person. My mother lost her parents when she was 12, so she grew up with her uncle and her great-grandmother. My dad, he started working when he was 6 years old. They have always worked really hard to like help us, me and my siblings. In the future, I hope I will be a doctor, professional, and I will be able to help new families from my country, fundraising money to help more students in Honduras and more communities. I would like to tell everyone that no matter where you are, you're always going to have someone to help you, and you have to believe in yourself, and the only limit in life is you.